Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, and in today's video we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about Bo-Katan before watching season 2 of The Mandalorian on the 30th of October 2020, which is just under 2 months away. My sources for this video are CinemaBlend, Wikipedia.com and StarWars.fandom.com, so I'm going to bring you everything you need to know about Bo-Katan before watching The Mandalorian season 2. One of the most interesting points about season 2 that came out is that Katee Sackhoff would be reprising her role as Bo-Katan. So who is Bo-Katan? If you've limited yourself to live-action Star Wars films at this point, you won't know who she is at all, as she's primarily appeared in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, the two main animated Star Wars shows. Katee Sackhoff actually voiced the character for those shows, but now she'll be bringing Bo-Katan into live action, and if you're not familiar with who the character is, you should be, as odds are she's going to be extremely important for the plots in the chapters of season 2 of The Mandalorian. So the first thing to note about her is that she is herself a Mandalorian. Let's start with the most important thing. The show is about Mandalorians and Bo-Katan is one. However, while Mandalorian told us that being a Mandalorian meant following the creed, not being born on the planet of Mandalore, Bo-Katan actually was. She's a Mandalorian by birth, and her armor came by way of, as far as we know, simply being born there. In fact, until the Mandalorian show, we all thought, as Greef Karga did, that being a Mandalorian simply meant you were from Mandalore. The last we saw of Bo-Katan was near the end of Star Wars Rebels, which ended a few years before the events of the original trilogy, which means that, like the rest of the Mandalorians, it's not entirely clear what happened to her in the interim. We can't be sure she's alive. It's always possible Katee Sackhoff's appearance will be in a flashback, and not actually happening during the events of The Mandalorian Season 2. The next thing to note is about the Death Watch. If you thought the fact that being Mandalorian was a creed as opposed to a race was an interesting twist in and of itself, it's only one of many in the history of Mandalore. While we know Mandalorians to be armor-wearing warriors who frequently work in the bounty hunting profession, there was a time when that was about as far from reality as you could get. When we first visit Mandalore in Star Wars The Clone Wars, Mandalorians have embraced peace to the point that the planet is remaining neutral in the Clone War itself. However, there was a branch of Mandalorians who believed the planet should embrace the warrior past. They're called the Death Watch, and when we first meet Bo-Katan, she's part of the group, having aligned her own squad, the Night Owls, with Death Watch. The planet viewed Death Watch mostly as terrorists. Death Watch attempted to overthrow the government on more than one occasion, even teaming up with Darth Maul to finally succeed. However, when Maul kills Death Watch's leader, Pre Vizsla, and declares himself the leader of Mandalore, Bo-Katan takes a stand, refusing to accept an outsider as a leader. And the next thing to note is about Ahsoka Tano herself, who will also appear in The Mandalorian Season 2. So they write that Bo-Katan isn't the only character introduced in Star Wars The Clone Wars who will be appearing in Season 2. While as yet to be confirmed by Disney, all signs point to Rosario Dawson bringing the role of Ahsoka Tano to life for the first time in live action. As such, it's an easy question to ask if these two appearing in the same season is connected. It's certainly possible, as Ahsoka and Bo-Katan have quite a long history, and much of it is wrapped up with the final season of the Clone Wars, and of course they're talking about Season 7. Ahsoka had a long history dealing with the Death Watch through the events of the Clone Wars, but her real connection to Bo-Katan came when the Mandalorian recruited Ahsoka in order to help her take Mandalore back from Darth Maul. Bo-Katan was actually the sister of Duchess Satine, the Mandalorian leader before Maul took over, who died at the hands of the former Sith, and so Bo-Katan felt she had a duty to save her home. Eventually the plan worked. With the help of Ahsoka and the 501st Division of Clone Troopers, Maul was defeated and Mandalore was freed for a time. The next thing we have to talk about is Bo-Katan and how she was the leader of Mandalore twice. Following the siege of Mandalore at the end of the Clone War, Bo-Katan was named Regent of Mandalore by the Jedi Council. Unfortunately, shortly thereafter, Order 66 was initiated and the Empire took over. Bo-Katan refused to bow to the Empire, leading to another clan of Mandalorians, the Saxons, usurping power and forcing Bo-Katan out. Decades later, during the events of Star Wars Rebels, the animated series, Sabine Wren, a member of the Rebellion who was also from Mandalore, allied herself with Bo-Katan and kicked the Empire off the planet. Bo-Katan became the de facto ruler of the planet, though exactly what happened after the clans of Mandalore united behind Bo-Katan we don't really know. It was made clear that the Empire was not through with Mandalore, and that certainly seemed to be true based on Moff Gideon's comments at the end of Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Next, we need to talk about one of the most crucial aspects of Season 2, which is Bo-Katan and the relationship she had with the mythical Darksaber. The second time Bo-Katan became the leader of Mandalore, she did so holding an object we saw at the end of the first season of The Mandalorian, the Darksaber, which was wielded by Moff Gideon. The unique black saber was obtained in Star Wars Rebels by Sabine Wren, but she's passed on the blade, seen as a signifier of Mandalorian leadership, to Bo-Katan once she was convinced that Bo was the best person to lead her people. We know that at some point there was a conflict between the Empire and Mandalore called the Great Purge. It would appear, though, we don't know for sure, that this was when Moff Gideon took possession of the Darksaber. The events will be made clear in Season 2. It would seem Bo-Katan was defeated once again. The fact that Gideon now holds the weapon that Bo-Katan once had seems likely to be a major point in the upcoming season of The Mandalorian. With Bo-Katan making the jump to live action, we will likely get a lot of questions answered about what happened to Mandalore during the original trilogy and beyond. Bo-Katan is an important part of that history. Even if she doesn't play a huge role in The Mandalorian Season 2, she'll likely have a large role in filling in the gaps. So there you have it, guys, a concise overview of the importance of Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian Season 2. She will play a pivotal role. Now, I know a lot of fans have only seen the live action films and maybe read a few books or maybe not. But what I urge all of you to do is to check out the Clone Wars and or Rebels and get a sense of her character. I think even if you know a lot about Bo-Katan going into The Mandalorian Season 2, it does help fix a lot of questions that you might have when watching Season 2. And it's also important to understand her relationship with Sabine Wren and also with Ahsoka Tano, and to see that she's a very well developed character in the Star Wars universe. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed my video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please hit subscribe to my channel and also consider becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. It really helps me out. The link is in the description down below, and I will see you next time. I'm Star Wars Meg.
Okay.